Hey YouTube, Mike from Iron Shepherd Forge here. Stay tuned while I take my Gas Saver eBay find and with the help of a couple of repair pieces, get it back working for use in the blacksmith shop. If you like what I'm doing here, down in the corner is a subscribe button. Hit that button, hit that little bell next to it, and you'll get notified every time I make a new video and post it on YouTube for you guys. In the meantime, stay tuned for part 1 of the Gas Saver series, where we take this tool and make it really functional in the blacksmith shop. Thanks for tuning in. Alright, so we got the thing all clamped up in a vise here. I've got some, I used an old scrap of leather because the body of this this piece is made of brass, and I don't want to gall it up in the jaws of the vise. So we've got it clamped up here. This is the inlet side, and it's got that big ding on it, and I want to get rid of that guy. So we're going to take this guy right here, and we're just going to see if we can't get that piece unthreaded from there. And that's not working very well. All right, so there we go. We got it broken loose here. So this is what happens when you've got factory fittings. They're in there. So we're able to break that loose. Let's blow those off. Keep that crud from dropping down in there. And that looks like pretty clean down there. And there we are. So we've got that piece. Here's our replacement piece. If you notice, it's got the same marks on there to show it's a reverse thread, and that threads in nicely. Now I'm not going to just leave it in there and thread it in. We got to put some pipe insulation on that, some pipe dope. We're not going to use dope, we're going to use tape. So let me move your camera just a little bit here. So all right, here we are again. So you guys are used to seeing this stuff right here, the little Teflon tape. So white stuff goes on when you're making air tool connections and things like that. Well, that stuff is fine for air tools, but what you need for this stuff is, this stuff's yellow, and this is for gas line. And it actually says yellow gas line there on the pipe. I don't know if on the package. I don't know if you can read that or not. But it's yellow. It's thicker, and it actually works pretty well. So I've used this on my propane forge burners. And we're going to do it exactly the same way we've done before. So you look, there's the compression fitting for the outside. That's the part that goes there. So we're going to take this piece right here. Let me aim you back down, and we'll see what we're doing here. See if we can get this going. You want to wrap the... First off, you don't want to drop it. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to put this on the threads that go into the body of that. And we'll let's turn the camera a little bit here so you can see what I'm doing here. We're gonna wrap this around, and you always want to wrap this in the same direction the threads are going so that it works its way in versus working its way out. And so we wrap that, and it doesn't need to be a whole lot because it's actually quite a bit thicker than that Teflon tape, and we just rip that off there, and then we roll this back and make sure we don't have any covering the orifice there. We don't want that getting down in there. So we roll that back so it fits on there. You can press it in there and see that it's all threaded on there. So we'll turn you back. All right, we'll thread that on there partially hand tight. Sorry about that. And then we'll just give it some spin there. We can use the box end on this wrench. And just like all other air and fuel gas connections, you kind of tighten this up by feel. And you can tell when you're getting close because it's getting pretty close to the height of the other one. And it's getting snug. And it looks like we're getting pretty close right there. All right, I think we're done. So we'll go ahead and unclamp this out of the vise. And we'll take it out, and there we are right there. So pull that piece of leather out of the vise. Turn the camera here. So there it's close enough. These aren't quite the same distance out either. I think we're all right there. We'll know for sure once we get it tested up. But in the meantime, we got to do a couple of other minor repairs to this guy. So the other repair that we're going to be doing, like I said, is replacing that little piece right there. That's the where the pilot light goes, and you'll see that here in a second. Let me just unscrew this piece, and I'll show you the rest. What this essentially is a needle valve. There's the needle. You can see that, and this screws in down into that little that seating surface down in there, and that's how you adjust the pilot light. So let me get the new piece, and we'll put it on there. All right, so we're gonna get a top-down view, and this piece is WDW-104. See if you can see that right there, and that's the LP gas pilot light assembly. They probably won't have this in stock at your local welding supply. Mine didn't, but they ordered it for me, and it was there in just a couple days. So it says LP gas on there. I don't know if you can see that or not. It's kind of hard to read, but it does say LP gas, liquid propane gas. And that's the part that's, if you see, that's the part that's broken off there. And it is kind of a design thing that, not the best design, but it's meant to function. And this is specifically designed for propane. You can see the different orifices in there for it to draw air in. So that's one of the clues that it's for propane only and not acetylene gas. So this guy drops down in there, and I can feel it hitting on the surface. So if I back this off, if I back that off a little bit, then I can get on there and I can screw this part down. I'm going to have to back this part out. And we're going to see if we can't get this on there. So what we got to do is these threads mate into threads down in the neck there, so you can spin that down and you can see it threading in there. Well, now we know that this is not holding anymore, so we keep threading this in there, and this still turns freely. This part still turns freely. I'm sorry, that's not a very good view there. This part still turns freely. This part does not anymore, and so it's firmly seated in there. Probably need to put a little twist on that with a wrench. So let me go ahead and grab a wrench, and we'll seat that on there for now. All right, we're back, and this is a 3/8. So we'll put a couple of very gentle twists on that. We want to make sure that still operates. If you see that rises up and down and allows pilot light adjustment. And that's got a good little snug on there. So there we are with that piece. So the next thing we need to do is we need to fabricate us a lever, because the way this works is, let me move you down just a little bit to get a better look at this guy. So the way this guy works is you hook up your gas on one side, you're from the tanks, and you head this out to your torch, and there'll be a lever right here fixed in this hole. And what that lever does is it acts as a valve. It operates the valve that's inside here. That's what makes this a gas saver. So you'll light this pilot light and adjust it to the right flame. So it'll be a small pilot light right up here. And then this lever will come out, and when it's up like this, the flow of gas to the torch is active. And when you need to light it, you come over to your pilot light and you poof, and you light your torch. What this is a lever that sticks out, maybe about a foot, depending on, it's adjustable for the weight. And what it does when you're done using your torch on whatever you're heating up, and you want to pause your torch without turning off the valves, you hang it on the handle and it presses this down and shuts off the flow of gas to the torch, and the pilot light remains lit. When you lift the torch off, gas flow is restored to the torch, and then you light it here. And so we're gonna go ahead and hook up some hoses, but first we're gonna make this lever so it'll be a little bit easier to operate this. All right, folks, so what we're using here are some bending forks. These usually wind up in my big vise over there, but we're gonna use the machinist vise today. And what these will do is allow me to bend a piece of 1/4-inch stock that I've got here, and we're going to bend that into a little handle for this, and we're going to see how we do. So we're probably just going to do this cold. Let me find a spot for you to watch this happen, and we'll get it done. All right. And so basically that's just a little hanger for the torch body there. So we're going to see if we can't. This is a little off center, so we're going to see if I can't bend that back in line. And I'm pretty happy with that right there. So that's all we're doing there, and that's where the torch is going to hang. So there's the operation of the valve. But let's get this thing hooked up to the gas and see what we can do here. So give me a few minutes while I get my torch set up. All right, so we're going to hook up the hose to this torch, the new hose. If you notice, this is one that's got the hash marks on it. So that's a reverse thread, and that's the fuel gas. So we'll just reverse thread those on there. And we'll put them on hand tight, and then we'll give them a squeeze with a wrench and get them on there. Now what I did is my local supplier didn't have any T-grade hose and the lengths I needed, so I wound up picking up like a 25-footer on eBay or Amazon, I can't remember, and then I just had them cut it and recrimp it. They just go ahead and crimp these little ferrules on there, and that'll get it squared away, and then I can use it. So we'll give that a snug. Give that one a snug. And there we are on this side. And then this is the inlet side. So this is the side that comes out of the tanks, and this will say outlet, and it drops down because that's what that's probably the natural angle it's gonna hang at. So outlet, we have fuel gas, and so we'll pull these little where they pair up. And now we'll take you over where the torches are. I'm going to have to rearrange the lights because it's kind of dark in that corner of the shop. So I'll take you over there and give me just a minute. All right, so what I really went and did is I forgot that I had cut the hose off center. I want a shorter hose from the gas saver to the torch, and I accidentally connected the long side to the other one. So that's what took me a second there to readjust these hoses. But I've got the short section here. This short section right here runs to the hose, or runs to the torch, excuse me. And then this other section here comes out of the fuel, the tanks, the oxygen and the propane tanks. And there it is. All right, and that's what we're looking for right there. So what looks like is going on there is it doesn't look like the shutoff valves are adjusted perfectly. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to break off camera, but that's basically how a gas saver works. So I'm going to break off camera and I'm going to see if I can adjust those. I don't think the oxygen is closing all the way is what I think is going on. I'm going to find out by switching out by checking the gas bottles and see which one is not shutting off and which one is. So give me just a second and we'll troubleshoot this guy, and hopefully I won't have to order any more parts for this. But so far it's looking like it's working like almost like I wanted to. So let's get that taken care of. All right, so let's show you the troubleshooting so you'll see exactly what I did. Let me angle that just a little bit. So in order to get this thing going again, we just adjust the torch, we just adjust the fuel and get it lit. And then we'll do this. We'll go slow here. So what I wound up doing is doing some testing here. So shuts off, but I still hear flow. Not hearing much there, so we'll light it again. And what I wound up doing is I shut the fuel and the oxygen off, so it's completely turned off now. Let me turn that pilot light up just a little bit. I don't want to touch it with my bare hands, so we're going to go a little higher there. And so what we'll do is we'll turn on the propane. Propane will burn just fine. So let's see if this shuts it completely off when we press this down. And it looks like the propane is out, and it looks like it's done. Looks like it shuts off. Well, we let it up and it turns on again. So we'll shut the propane down and we'll turn on the oxygen. And you'll probably hear that. Yep, you hear the oxygen running. So we shut it off and nothing. So it looks like the oxygen valve is the one that's not shutting off correctly. So we'll shut those two down. So now it looks like what we're looking at is that guy right there. That's the oxygen side. And what I think is happening, if we place this handle that I made back in here, if we look, we see that the oxygen needle valve is sticking out a lot further than the propane. So I think what I need to do is adjust that screw right there, that adjustment screw right on top. I think I need to adjust that down a little further. So let's see if we can't get that done. So that was really straightforward. Basically this locking nut comes off about an eighth of a turn, and then we can adjust that down. We can wind it out or wind it in about as far as we need, and then give it a twist there. So then we'll light the propane, get the oxygen lit to a reasonable amount. Not quite. All right, we'll stand you back now and we'll show you how it works. Now I'll be able to work. I'll be able to do what I'm doing, heat what I need to heat, and then when I'm done, I hang it on the. And there it is. It makes a funny little sound. It might need a little bit better adjusting. Turn up the pilot light just a little bit. Ready to roll. There it is. So hey YouTube, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you following me along on this little repair on this gas saver. Going to be careful not to put my elbow over the pilot light there. If you like what you've seen so far, go ahead and click that button down here in the corner of the screen right down here and subscribe. Follow me along. If you want to click that little bell, remember our favorite little bell here. If you click that little bell right next to the subscribe button, you'll get notified every time I post a new video. So this is part 1 of the gas saver series, and stay tuned and we'll have more to come. Thanks a lot. This is Mike from Iron Shepherd Forge, and be safe out there.